Very pleased to present my speaker today, Stephanie Kinnaman, who most of you know, but there are some new members that probably don't know how much this club does for Gift of Life. And I know we talked a lot about it, but we've got some different things going on, and there's different aspects to this club, so I thought this would be a good chance to give Stephanie time to talk about it. We've talked a lot about the trips going overseas, and Stephanie's gone to Uganda 3 years in a row now with the team. She's also gone to Jordan, where they go over there and fix all the little kids. And then we've also got children being brought in from different places all around the world. So this year, Stephanie's the district chair for Gift of Life International, which basically gives her the responsibility of organizing the arrangements for those kids coming in, who oftentimes are staying for several weeks. And with her busy schedule and everything else, she's doing a ton on the home front here, trying to make that happen. And it's really, even though it's got an international focus, what we're doing with bringing kids here is really neat on a local level, because it gives our club a great chance to provide leadership amongst the different Rotary groups. We also have a chance for just our club, in the same way that we interact with some of the exchange students, to meet these families, talk to their kids, have our kids see what we're doing, and really, hands-on, get to see how these lives are changed. I know Sarah spent a day with Martin and Amma, and probably got more out of it at the Children's Museum than they did. So what I wanted to give Stephanie a chance to do is talk about what she's doing here locally, kind of the effort that it takes to make all that happen. Share a little bit more about the program, but I've asked all you guys to figure out a way to try to help her and get involved, because we can really make this experience neat for the people when they come over here. It's a great chance for you guys to meet people from all around the world and really see what our Gift of Life efforts are doing here locally. So without any more, I'll introduce Stephanie.
Thank you. Okay, so just to hear it a different way, because I'm sure you all think that you know everything about Gift of Life because we talk about it so much. Here's at least a different voice talking about Gift of Life. Something new that we've received. Hopefully you all can hear it.
It's the backbeat of our lives. Every smile, every tear, every dance. Every single step we take is underscored by its rhythm. It's the sound of life. And yet for far too many children, in too many places around the world, that sound is not easily heard. Gift of Life believes that every child, no matter where they were born, deserves to hear their own melody and all the moments that rhythm promises. Gift of Life does this by bringing together the world's best cardiac surgeons and the kids that need them the most, no matter how far away they may be.
Often I'm asked, what is Gift of Life? Well, to me, it begins with the kids. And the answer is best illustrated by the story of two of those children in particular. During the Our Hearts Are in El Salvador program, we provided open heart surgery to a beautiful girl named Jocelyn, just 10 years old. During her recovery, she was promised a fiesta for her birthday. So, we threw a party with all of her family, her mom, her dad, her sister, her aunts, uncles, grandparents, and cousins. And in the middle of this glorious party, with cake all over her face, she had the biggest smile you'd ever seen. But it wasn't just her smile that struck me. It was the smiles on the faces of everyone there. And it made me think of another child. Little Brian. And while he was presented to Gift of Life for help, we couldn't help him fast enough. And I ended up attending his funeral. Walking in the pouring rain with his mom to the grave, standing by his family, his grandparents, his mom, his dad, his aunts, uncles and cousins, as they wept uncontrollably, the rain mixing with their tears. I realized how much Brian and Jocelyn had in common, and the tiniest margin that separated two families, one gathering for a birthday, the other gathering for a funeral.
That small margin is the beat of a heart, whether a family is faced with the devastation of losing a child, or the joy of having their child's life saved is determined by you. With your generous support, the efforts of Gift of Life's programs, donors, doctors, and nurses, Jocelyn's heart was healed. But Gift of Life needs more help to reach even more. And the stakes are too high to spare a minute. Your donation can often be the difference between a family gathering for a birthday party or a funeral. Your donation allows Gift of Life to do what it's done for 4 decades.
Back in 1975, this began as an effort to help just one child.
I wish we'll stop it there because this is a little long for how much time I have to speak. But in the back of Robbie and Rob, while they're speaking here, is the picture of our group, our Gift of Life group, meeting Mira and Sarah at the airport. So this has been distributed to the Gift of Life programs all over the world. So it's pretty cool that our picture right there is highlighted. So just a little different background. Like I said, somebody else talking a little bit about what Gift of Life does. And now I'll tell you a little bit about Gift of Life Indiana style. So this is the picture that was behind them in the video there. So you've heard me talk a lot about what we do on our vocational training team trips, and now I hope to tell you a little bit more about the day-to-day of what we do when we bring children here. So how did it come to Indiana? It was brought to Indiana by past District Governor Bill Hatfield from the Rotary Club of Lafayette, and I just had a chance on Tuesday to reconnect with him when I went to the Rotary Club of Lafayette to introduce Luna, one of our most recent Gift of Life babies, and he was thrilled to see the program alive and well again, and sort of one of the fruits of the labor that he had started in the spring of 1999. And then it was brought to our club, our own Tony Campbell, when he was president, and the first Gift of Life auction put on by the Rotary Club of Greenfield and Greenfield Rotary was in 2000. And what do? We bring 4 to 5 children here to Indiana to have surgery at Riley Hospital for Children every year. What is involved? Well, you do not have to, like Susanna and Dave Combs, host this parent and child in your own home. It doesn't have to be that high maintenance. But what can we help out with? What is part of what we do? They come into the airport, we take them to the Ronald McDonald House, we take them to Riley for their preoperative check with all of the doctors, and we're there with them during the day of operation. I check on them every day while they're in the hospital, and we help to be there when they're discharged out of the hospital, usually 5 to 7 days later, and transition back to the Ronald McDonald House where they stay for the remainder of their stay here in Indiana. And then there's a post-operative check at Riley again about 4 weeks after the surgery day. And then their departure, which is usually about 6 weeks after their arrival. So they're here for 6 weeks in Indiana. We had 3 of them just this summer, from May until, well, really now. Our last one, Luna, is leaving September 10th. She had a little longer stay. So I had to incorporate some pictures, of course, of these adorable kids. So this is a picture of their arrival, one of the arrivals, Martin and Amma, when they came to Indianapolis, and my son Connor and I with little Amma. And I just love this picture sort of before and then after. If you could remember Mira, the mom's face, holding baby Sarah in that very first picture as we started, and sort of the look of fatigue and shock on her face, and a little bit here too. It's a little dark, sorry, or too lit up from the light, but she's sort of like, what am I doing here? And then the pictures as they're leaving, they look comfortable with us, and we're friends, and we've really made a lifelong connection. This is Dua, and she was only here for a week. She's from Amman, Jordan, 19 years old. This was sort of her last-ditch effort, her only chance to have her heart fixed. She had heart surgery as a newborn, and then has lived with another problem of her heart that was never fixed all of these years. And so she came to have a heart cath to see if there was any chance she was operable. This is Becky Clark, who is so instrumental in everything Gift of Life that's done through Riley. She's the assistant to Dr. Turrentine and nurse.
Was she operable?
She was not operable, so not right now. She's going home to Jordan. She was started on a new medication. She'll be reevaluated in Jordan in 6 months, and we're still hopeful that there's something that can be done. It didn't look real good. So after we pick them up at the airport, we take them to Ronald McDonald House and get them all settled in. We fill out some paperwork, and Ronald McDonald House isn't just for Gift of Life children, I'm sure you know. It's for anyone who has a child at Riley. There is a long waiting list, but our children, it's prearranged before they come, have a room. And they share a bathroom with usually one other family that have a nice sized room with usually a couple beds. They provide a pack and play sort of playpen for the little kids. And so we do some paperwork. I put myself as the billing information so we can take care of that. And then we make their beds and get their towels out and just sort of help them settle them in to make them comfortable. So this is our very own Tony, helping with Martin and Amma to get them settled into their room there. And you might notice it was hard to find a good picture of Amma because she was so busy. She was always on the go. So she's always blurry in the pictures. So then usually they have a day of rest where they can sort of get used to the new time here, the time change. And then the second day that they're here, they usually go to Riley for an all-day preoperative check, where they have chest x-rays and labs, and they see the anesthesiologist and the cardiologist. They have an echo, and they see the surgeon and sign consents for the surgery, which is usually a day or a couple days later. So it is really an all-day process there at Riley. They're usually there by 10 o'clock in the morning, and we leave by 4 or 5 in the evening. This is Dua, again, with her father Ahmed, and the interpreter Zechariah was his name. So for these families that do not speak English at all, Riley provides an interpreter, which I didn't include that in the cost later as well. So that's a sort of a long day, but they have some toys there in the Heart Center pre-op area where Amma just made herself right at home and was having a ball. And then there's the operation day. And you might imagine that that's a really important day for someone to be there with the parent. I think this picture sort of embodies the worry, on the look of the parent. They've come all this way for this chance for their child to have a better life and to have a full life. Without these surgeries, these children would not live into adulthood. 19 is pretty amazing that Dua has made it this long, but she won't live much longer with the heart that she has. So this is really their only chance. So it's an emotional time for the parents, mom or dad. That's a difficult time to hand that child over to the nurse where they take them back to the operating room. So we sit with them. During the operation, Riley sends out a nurse every hour to give an update of how the surgery is going and where they are in the process. And then the surgeon comes out, it's almost always Dr. Turrentine, comes out and talks to the family and tells them how everything went and what to expect. And then about an hour and a half later, after they talk to the surgeon, the child comes back into the ICU and the parents go to meet them in the ICU and see their child for the first time, usually, as you might imagine, all hooked up to tubes and IVs and lines coming everywhere, and the child is asleep usually for that first night, and so it's a very emotional day for these families. So this is little Amma. The first day after surgery, I went to see her, and she was fast asleep, but off a lot of the tubes already. She was off the ventilator, breathing on her own, doing very well, but fast asleep. And then Sarah Joyner went to visit her a mere 3 days later, and here she is, rattling the bars of her bed. She couldn't wait to get out. So what a difference 3 days makes, right? And then just a week later, she was there for 7 days. So a total of a week after surgery, This is a picture from Sarah as well. She was there the day that they were discharged. And so that's a big day as well, where they're trained on how to give them medications. We pay for their medications. That's sent up to the floor so the nurses can go over the timing of the medications and precautions as far as after these kids have open heart surgery. You no longer pick them up from under their arms. They have to be picked up from under their seat, you know, and their back. So you don't pick these children up for about 4 to 6 weeks under their arms anymore. So all these things, they're instructed on how to do that. And then we collect all of these things and take them over to Ronald McDonald House and settle in for their sort of new life. And then in the process, we take them out shopping to get groceries. Ronald McDonald House usually has service groups that come in about once every day that provides a meal for all of the families in all of Ronald McDonald House. It's a big place if you've never been there. They have one main dining room, and usually one meal a day is provided for them. But then on top of that, they can have sort of a cubby or a locker place where they can keep their own groceries, and they have a small sort of dorm-sized refrigerator in their room where they can make and prepare their own meals. There are full kitchens in Ronald McDonald House, and so they can cook for themselves. So usually about once a week, I'll take them out grocery shopping somewhere close to downtown and get some things that they need to try to make them feel comfortable and as much at home while they're here as they can. Now, Mira and Sarah, baby Sarah was in the hospital for about a month. And for Mira, that was literally just a chance. That was the only way I could get her out of the hospital. And that took a long time to even get to that point. But she was really proud. She found these cute little tennis shoes for baby Sarah. And even though baby Sarah wasn't even awake and she was still on the ventilator, that gave her comfort. And I think, to me, that symbolized the hope that baby Sarah was going to get better. So I loved this picture. She was so proud to take this picture with her tennis shoes. So as I mentioned, about 4 weeks later, we have this post-operative check at the doctor. This is Dr. Brown, who did Alma's surgery. And that's really the one last hurrah, the one last visit 4 weeks later at the hospital. It's usually a pretty short day to get checked out by the surgeon. Now in the meantime, once they're healthy enough that they can get out and sort of around other people, it's nice to take the parent and the child to other Rotary meetings. I think it's super important because our club raises so much money for these children and Gift of Life in general. That I try very hard to bring them here at least once every time that they're here, because I want you to see them and to see how full of life they are now, and to hear the gratitude that I see every day when I see them, for you all to feel a part of that and to see it with your own eyes. But it's also really important to try to get out to the other Rotary clubs. They're not as involved, and they don't hear me talk about Gift of Life and the latest child that comes in all the time. So for them to see these children and these families, I think is a super important part of, as my job of district Gift of Life chair. This is Luna, by the way, who many of you met from Albania. I took her to the Rotary Club of Lafayette on Tuesday because she's staying in Lafayette. Her aunt and uncle live in West Lafayette. We try to do fun things. You know, Ronald McDonald House is an amazing place, but to stay there for 6 weeks, it's nice to get them out. So we try to get them out to do other things, to go to the zoo, and Sarah and the Joiners took them to the Children's Museum. So there's Martin and Amma at the Children's Museum here on the right, and with my 2 youngest children, we went putt-putting, which you might imagine was really interesting with an almost 2-year-old as busy as Amma is. And this is Jack Joyner with Amma playing at the Children's Museum, and they loved it. They loved these, even putt-putting. Martin had a hole-in-one at least 2 or 3 times on the easy course that we picked for the children, and he was jumping up and down behind the ball. He just had so much fun. And then 6 weeks later, we pack them all up and do the official checkout at Ronald McDonald House, and we take them to the airport. And I hope you can see, if you could read remember that picture of Mira when she arrived, and that somber look on her face, and that fatigue, and that shock and awe, and how scared she was. And you know, here we are warmly hugging each other, and she's letting me hold her child, and it's such a huge difference. And Martin and Alma leaving there with Sarah and her Josie and my Connor, it's like sending off a family member in the end. So what do we help with? We buy them groceries, as I mentioned. We buy their medications. Sometimes we cover their meals when they're not eating at Ronald McDonald House. While they're in the hospital, their meals they have a Ronald McDonald House in the hospital as well, and usually there's one meal a day that's there in the hospital at the Ronald McDonald House. We pick them up and drop them off for the flights. We take them out and try to host them, but it's not all about entertaining them. It's about that connection that we make with them as well, and how the world feels so much smaller when we learn about where they're from as well. And that helps a lot with their homesickness, talking about their home and what it's like there and how different it is, but how similar we all are. It's all about building goodwill and better friendships. So how far does our money go? I need to speed up, sorry. So we pay $7,500 to Riley for each child's procedure, whether they have a surgery, they have a cath with a device put in, we pay $7,500. Now, these are some staggering things, and this isn't all, okay? So our bill for Luna's hospitalization alone, Sarah, who was in the hospital for about a month the first time, this does not account for any of the surgical cost at all. This was just the hospital stay, was $220,000 was the quote-unquote retail price, okay? And then she had another one-night admission a week later. Jalika, who was one who came last fall, hers was just a 5-day hospital stay, really uncomplicated. Her total bill, not counting surgery or anything that had anything to do with the surgery, just the hospital stay, was $84,000 plus. Adwa, who had a cath only and was just a one-night stay overnight, was $38,584.70. So it's staggering. We pay $7,500. Then Ronald McDonald House is $15 a night for Amma. That comes to $615. The medications are about $125 to $150 for each child. Groceries totaled up over 6 weeks, about $500. So the total cost to save these lives, add all that up, is $8,500 to $8,750 from us. And obviously, retail would be well over $125,000 for an uncomplicated surgery and recovery. You know, does Riley want to advertise that they're writing off that much? Absolutely not. Do they like all the press if we have all kinds of press and say, look what they're doing? No, but this is why we're great partners, right? This is what we're doing. What is our return on investment? These beautiful smiles. And our beautiful smiles, being involved in this. So we have friends for life from around the world. We have an understanding by being involved in this, an understanding of different cultures, languages, families, traditions. We are building goodwill and better friendships. We're making happen peace through understanding. Their understanding of us, our understanding of them. We're building bridges across continents. We are experiencing peace through service. We are engaging Rotary and changing lives. Guess what? These are the last 3 years of Rotary International's mottos. This is Rotary. This is a huge, to me, this embodies Rotary. How can you help? I would love it if I could get more of you involved. Around the district, not just you, but it would be great if you all could have a personal part of this. We have, as a club, a great involvement of giving money and giving for Gift of Life, the auction. I would love it for you to experience what I've had the opportunity to experience from a personal level. So you could help with pickup and drop off from the airport. You can visit them at the hospital. I go every day while they're at the hospital. Actually, I check in with them every day while they're here for 6 weeks. And I can't personally make that trip to Ronald McDonald House every day. Take them grocery shopping. It's about once a week. We save the receipts. We turn it into WCSF. You get them reimbursed. We take them on family outings. It would be great if somebody has a talent for scrapbooking to make a scrapbook for the family. Bring the family when they're healthy and well to your home for a dinner or a day out. Take them to other Rotary meetings. I can only go to Rotary meetings around the district that happen on Tuesday or Thursday because those are my days off. That would be a huge help as well. So you don't, I didn't get this job because I'm a doctor, okay? I'm not the district chair of Gift of Life because I'm a doctor. You don't have to be a doctor to be involved in this, to care about it, to be there with the families. You don't have to go to Amman, Jordan or Kampala, Uganda to feel this love and to feel this part of Rotary. You are a Rotarian. You are already equipped with what you need to do this. So, that's what I have. Do we have any questions? I'm sorry I took us right up to the end.
That's okay. Gift of Life is one of the reasons I became a member of this club, and I'm sure a lot of you as well. And then you find out all the other great things we do too, and it keeps you here. But I'm going to give you this Rotary coin. I don't know if you've gotten one of these before. If you happen to have one already, you could give that to someone and ask them to come on September 19th. But on the back, it has the 4-way test, which we're going to repeat now. First,
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
and fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And I really do appreciate you coming today and appreciate everybody. I don't know where the bell went. There it is.
Drawing.
Drawing. We got out of the habit.